Ever wonder what would happen if Nicolas Cage got paired with Nicholas Winding Refn's color palette? Hello, I'm Hay, and welcome to another review for All That Film. Today we're covering Color Out of Space. Let's get into it.
Or actually, I don't even know what color it was. It wasn't like any color I'd ever seen before.
Looks like a meteorite.
Color Out of Space is a sci-fi horror that comes to us from director Richard Stanley and is based off a short story from author H.P. Lovecraft, which, I'll be flat out honest, I'm not very familiar with either of the works of Stanley or Lovecraft, and this seemed like it may have deterred a bit of my viewing experience, which I'll touch on a bit later. I guess I'll address the Cthulhu in the room just to say, yeah, Lovecraft has said plenty of terrible things. He's a terrible human being. But I also didn't know about this till the Q&A where Patton Oswalt mentioned it after the film. Back to the movie, Color Out of Space is a very perplexing film. I liked a decent amount of it, and it definitely has strengths, particularly in the horror aspects of the film. For a lower budget horror, this film succeeds for me in some of its scares. This is largely due to the atmosphere this team can create. Production designer Katie Byron deserves a ton of credit for understanding the budgetary confines that were given, but not making them limitations, which I'll likely be saying for her efforts in Zola as well. Additionally, Colin Stetson adds another solid soundtrack to a blossoming career as a composer, which makes me even more excited for Uzumaki. The sci-fi elements of this project are okay. It doesn't have too much depth to it, but also it doesn't seem like it wanted to, which is fine for a film to decide, but I think that could have helped the progress in the story a bit more. Other than that, the humor is solid. My theater enjoyed it a lot more than I did, but there were some jokes that were landing for me. The biggest seller of the comedy really could have been Tommy Chong, and he's sparingly used, which I could have seen a little bit more of him on screen. He could have been a bigger part of this film. He was really well cast in the role of Ezra, but he wasn't given enough time to really thrive. The rest of the actors in this project are fine, and I don't say this as a negative at all. They were very serviceable and commit to the lunacy that is this project, but there was just something that needed to pop for the ensemble a little bit more. If anything, the difficulty here is that they had to act with a certain actor who is extremely well known, which leads to my main last point, and probably the main reason most of us are here.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Nicolas Cage has long since entered the realm of being a meme, which is unfortunate because yes, he has a large catalog that can only be rivaled by that of Samuel L. Jackson, but also he has been a talented actor when given the right project to work with. To those unfamiliar with these projects like Moonstruck, Adaptation, and even in recent memory Mandy, this guy can turn in a powerful performance. But he also has been pigeonholed to ridiculous Nicolas Uncaged, if you will, where he screams and yells, which, yes, can be hilarious. However, in this film, it feels quite forced, and clearly they knew they had Nicolas Cage, so it was almost like they were nudging him to perform some Cageisms, if that makes sense. This is the part of the comedy that really didn't land as well for me, that my theater was eating up, which I could never really get behind, unfortunately. There's some of his over-the-top performances that just feel so natural, which is what makes them so memorable, whereas this felt more like an impression of something he would do in Face Off. This didn't kill the movie for me, but I can't help feel some dissonance from the rest of the audience. Overall, I describe Color Out of Space as a fun mess of a lower budget project. I'm glad I'm not doing ratings to start 2020 because I'm not really sure where I would land on this project, but I could see it sorta getting forgotten in the shuffle of other films. It has key moments that worked, and I think in fairness it has an audience that probably isn't me, so check it out if you want. Thanks for listening to another review for All That Film. If you enjoyed this review, you'll probably enjoy others that are being shown on a playlist on screen right now. Additionally, we have a podcast with a new episode posted every week with frequent bonus episodes. Maybe look forward on a spoiler discussion for this project, but I'm not quite sure if all my hosts will be checking this out. Also subscribe for more of our reviews in the future. Bye!